Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to learn few tuples in Julia. So till now we have learned about arrays, dictionaries. So tuple is an type of data structure in Julia which is similar to an array. As you can see from the screen, I have added some of the basic functionality of tuples. So tuple is a sequence of values. Tuple can be of any type and they are indexed by integers. So like just like arrays, we can also index tuple from starting from one, as we have seen all other data structure. And apart from that, we can see that important difference is that tuples are immutable. Like we cannot change tuple once we have created it. That is one thing to keep in mind. And then last thing is that tuples are of fixed length. So when you will use tuple, so we can use tuple when we have some data structure and we know it is not going to change. So for example, if we have for example, if we are creating a software and we know that like for an income organization, and we know like the address is not going to change, or like the location of that organization is not going to change, maybe like some 50 years or something which is we want to use it continuously. So for that, tuple is used. So let's see how we can initialize a tuple. First of all, to initialize the tuple is quite simple. Just need to write, for example, I use tup here for tuples, and you can just say and just in the round bracket. So as you can see, I have inserted here round bracket in similar way like array, but here we are using round bracket instead of square brackets. Now another thing we can also do is that we can just use this. If you just write comma and these are multiple values, like, then also we can initialize a tuple. So let's print the type of tube and type of. So they both are tuple only. So we can see they both are tuple, and but the difference is that like it is of two element and then another one is of three element. That's the only difference for tuples. Now, one thing we need to understand is that if we use only single element, so for example, if I use, for example, let me just do incorrect tuple or like error tuple, just I assign 3.14. You might think that it will become tuple, or else what I can do is that I can just change this one to round cut. So now let's see what happens. Type of incorrect tuple is float 64 only. It is not showing us like tuple and then float 64. It is only showing float 64. So to do it right way is to use for single element is to use correct tuple and then just add comma here. So now we see like if we now enter the type of tuple, type of correct tuple, let's see, yeah, it is tuple only. Now that this is the right way. Now we can also initialize empty tuple. For empty tuple, it is simple. Just we need to use empty round brackets, and it should give us the empty tuple. Another thing is that tuple can have multiple types. Now, for example, I can have like, let me go through like multi tuple. For an example, I can insert anything like for example, one, then float, then I can use string, then I can use like this one, 5, 1 second, and symbol, and then I can use this symbol as well. Let's see what happens. Yeah, so we have multi-tuple. If I insert type of multi-tuple, then it should be in 64 irrational pi symbol, etc. Now this is good thing. we can use it, we can combine multiple ways to create a tuple, multiple like elements. We can also use without round brackets in this case, that would be similar thing. And we can also use tuple function. So for example, if I want to create this same tuple, I can use the tuple function as well. So I can just, what I will do is like use function tuple, and I will here copy this thing and paste it here. So if you see here, I have got, I have created a tuple via function. Okay, I've not entered the function, so I can just use the tuple function. Now let's see type of function tuple. It is similar. Let me give another example. Another tuple equals tuple. Let's add world now. Then string is a. Then I can use float. Then I can use string, integer. I can use 5, our favorite one. So we have used with tuple function. Now let me go type of another tuple, which would be tuple function only. String symbol irrational pi. Other than this, like what we can do is that we can check for accessing tuple. Now I'll just add here. So how can we access tuple? So I will take one thing from here is, let's see another tuple, and we'll access another tuple. This we'll use this as an example. So how to access this similar to array? Just use another tuple one. It will be 12, 2. It will be same. Let me just add 4. If I use 5, let's see, and if I use 6, it will say error because there are only 5 elements. So for now, keep it for 5 only. Now what I want to do is that instead of using 5, I want to use 3.14 only. So I'll go here, people. Then what I will do, let me just how to access, like it's similar to array. If you want to access multiple elements, like using slicing 2 to 4 or like 1 to 4. If you want to access first 4 elements, and if you want to do begin, it also works. If you want to do end is the last element. So I want to do 1 to end. Let's use 3 to end. So it will be last. So this is how it works. So in this case, it is third element only. In Python, this happens is that we can use empty here and then colon, so it will from start to third element. But I think in Julia it doesn't work in this way. It is okay. So now what we have to do, we have to change the tuple from last element, which is fifth element. This you see here. I want to change this one to, like for example, 3.4 only. Just use 3.14 and third 141. Let's see what happens. No method matching set index. So this is the issue. Like tuple is immutable, so we cannot change the tuple value. That we should keep in our like mind. So whenever you are dealing with tuple, just treat it as constant and don't try to change it. So another thing we want to do is how we can use the operators with tuple. We can also use relation operators with tuple. So there's also a way to destructure the tuple, so that I will show it to you later. But let's see now. So, for example, how I can use relational operators with tuple. Let's see. Now we can have a tuple 0, 1, 2, and if we go 0, 3, 4, then what happens? This is true. How it does is that it starts a comparison. Julia starts a comparison by left and left. So this is equal, and then if you see 1, 1 is less than 3, then it is true, and 1 is less than 4, then let's try to change this one to 2. Let's see what happens. 2, still if I do 1, still 2, because it is comparing second element, and as soon as this becomes 2, then it is like change. So now what we will do, just change it to 3, and I will make this to 1 or 0. If you see false, because it is treating as first element. But if we do 1 and then let's see it is 2, because this is, so how it does is that it will compare each element by element. Then as soon as it finds the first operation to be true or false, it will return the value. So that's how it works. So another, like if we want, we can try another example, 0 and then 20,000 or something, and then 0, 3 and 4 also in this one. Now let's see A comma B, and if I do 1, 2, 3, what happens? So A is 2 and B is 1. So we can do this way also. We can assign and we can destructure the total. We can also create a swapping example of this one. So I'll first of all use it here itself only. So I do here begin, and then what I can do is that E comma A is equals to A comma B. This is the simple swap in Julia. If you see, as soon as we did this, A becomes 2 and B becomes 1. So this is simple example of swapping. Another example we can take is, if one thing I would like to share is that if we have XYZ and here we have only two values, this will fail. Because always think like this right shape should have equal or more values than the left side. Then only it will work. But if we have less values, then it will fail because we cannot assign a variable of any value. Now, in most of the Julia, we also have tuples as return values. So let's see tuple return. Now, if I do here, like for example, uh, let me use div example of function from mathematics, and let's divide 7 by 3. So this is the kind of output is tuple. It is one, it is remainder, it is one is remainder, and this is the quotient. We can also use to destructure it like quotient and remainder equals to Pn. So this is called destructuring, at least in Python. I'm not sure about Julia, I should refer same thing. So if you see here, you can use QR and then this should work. Now another, there are some mathematical functions we can use. Let me use another tuple function, TFTT. So TFT, let me use this way. 8, 7, 9, 10, 5, it is 3, 1, 4, 2. Now this is the tuple. Now I can use maximum function for this TFTF. I can use minimum function TFTF. Now I can use function example print all gs, and then I can do args. Let me see. how this works. So I have created a print all and it will print all the arguments. So you can just go ahead. This is also a tuple. I need to show this thing for this movie, that our arguments are also tuple in Java. Then three. So character. If you see, this is type of tuple only. So arguments are always tuple. Now another thing we need to consider is that arrays and tuples. Arrays and tuples. So we can have, for example, string which is ABC, and if I zip it, let me zip. For example, I have another 1, 2, 3. I will use zip function to zip A, B, and C. So how I can do is that zip s comma t. Let's see what happens. So it is zipping in this way, which is kind of a zip of two element. Now, what we want to do is that we want to like print the, like for example, zip A and 1, B and 2, and C and 3. So let me just do it by a pair. How we will print it for pair in zip s comma t. So if you see here, we were able to print the pairs. So which is when we are trying to zip the tuple and an array, we're getting the pair. Yes, A1 and B2 and C3. This is how it works. Moreover, there are collect functions and how we can use collect function. So if we try to see, we can also use collect function. Just go here, just control enter. So I'll use collect function and I will zip, for example, s comma t once again. Let me see what happens. So, yeah, so I have zipped it, and if you see here, using collect function as able to. So the zip, what it is doing is that it is creating. When we are trying to print it, just it has created a pair for us. And even we can do the similar function collect has worked for us. So instead of writing this code, we can directly use collect function for this. And we can also iterate over it. So if you want to iterate, so for example, you can do for, like for example, index using tuple element. So there is enumerate function which gives us a tuple enumerate, which is very handy, and it's also handy in Python. So println and then index comma and then element, and then if you see here, its index is 1, and then character is a 2. Like this, we can also use enumerate function. So this is quite handy with us, and we can use enumerate function multiple ways. Cool. So we can also convert tuples to array. So if we have a tuple, for example, 1 comma 2 comma 3, and if I want to convert it to array, just I use collect and then create. So it has converted to array. So this is one shortcut technique which you can use. Last but not the least, we can also go through how tuple and dictionary works. So a tuple and dictionary works in the similar way like how array works with us. We can convert the tuple to dictionary. So for example, if we have an array of tuple, I will give just one example here. If we have, for example, I use here tuple, and then I can do C1, let's do C3, and B should be tuple C2, Now what I want to do is that I want to convert this into dictionary for perfect mapping. I just need to do two, and I can do dict. If you see here, it has converted to the dictionary using this. So this is very handy. Last but not the least, we need to also see the name tuples. So name tuples are very handy and they are sometimes very useful. So for example, when you're getting deck of card or something like that, example name tuple is very good, or address as we discussed earlier. So let me just go here, add our name tuples. Now what we need to do to create name tuple. It is very simple. It's quite simple. So if we do here nt equals to a equals to 1, b equals to 2.0, c equals to 3. So instead of writing 1, 2, 3, we just create in the bracket a equals to 1, b equals to 2. So this is how it creates a name tuple. So nt is name tuple. Now if I want to access this, it is quite simple. Nt dot a or b or c. Yeah, so this is how we need to access it. So if we want to access the keys of tuple, so we can just do keys nt. So we need to add here nt is named. So if I also want to access the values, so I can do values nt. It will give me the values. So these are keys which are symbol, and this is value. This is how name tuple we can do. So we can also create name tuple directly from variables. So there's a shortcut to do this. So I will just explain this one. UTT. So if I have like for example GG, or I will do x equals to 1. If there are multiple definitions of that, xx equals to 1, y equals to 2, and we have to create begin xx equals to 1, y equals to 2, z equals to 3. Now I can just create a name tuple. So I just name tuple equals to, just enter semicolon, just like keyword argument we did. It should be xx, y1, zz. That's it. If I do end now, so name tuple is created. Let me go here, just like the assign. Name tuple dot xx or y1 or zz. This is how it works. Last is like we can also merge two tuples. So if you want to merge nt and name tuple, you can use merge function. Is merge, then nt name tuple. Now this is work. So thank you guys. This is for today, for like going through tuples. In next chapter we'll learn something more in Julia. Till that time, thank you. Have a great day. Bye.